Well, it's one of my pet peeves. It's one of those things that really, really bothers me, but we'll go into it today and we'll talk about it. Jadeveon Clowney is on the ask again. For those of you that don't know who Jadeveon Clowney is, I always have trouble saying his name. Jadeveon Clowney actually was drafted by the Houston Texans a few years back as the number 1 overall pick. An incredibly talented young man. He is 6'5", 275 pounds of twisted steel and football appeal. And the kid was supposed to be the next Lawrence Taylor or some type of version of that. And things didn't really work out. I think as far as being a great sack guy, I think the most sacks he's ever had in a season are 9.5 sacks. It's not terrible. It's not what you'd expect from a guy who was picked overall number 1, and from a guy who played most of his career up to this point on the opposite side of J.J. Watt. Now, in Clowney's defense, he is a hell of an athlete. I mean, a hell of an athlete, really. He's just one of those guys that just doesn't show up in the box score. And I don't think it shows up on a team level as well. And we'll go into that here in a little bit. But Clowney became a free agent this year. Last year he was traded to Seattle. Seattle gave up a fourth round draft pick to use him basically as a rent-a-player for the year to try to improve their defense, which wasn't that good. And because Clowney was on a franchise tag, and Seattle made a promise saying that we will bring you in, we will promise not to franchise you next year. So Clowney becomes a free agent this year, and he asks for a lot of money. He asks for $21 million as an average over a 4-year contract. So he's asking for $84 million over 4 years. Now you got to think to yourself, wow, that's a lot of money. That is a tremendous amount of money. As a matter of fact, that would put him in the top 2 percentile of defensive linemen, which I guess you'd want to put him there because defensive linemen make more money than linebackers do. It would make him probably the highest paid linebacker in football, or top 2 at $21 million. And the Seattle Seahawks said, you know what? Go out, test the market. Let's see what you're worth in the open market. Come back to us and we'll talk about it. And that's exactly what Clowney did. Now, Clowney went out, and so far he has, through that first wave of free agency, he got no offers. And they lowered his offer down to $17 million. So he goes from 5 years, $100 million, to saying, you know what, I would do this for 17. I would do this for $17 million. I'll cut you a deal. If you sign me, I will cut you a deal for $17 million a year. I will come in and I will be a completely mediocre producing football player with an unbelievable amount of talent. And that's what I will do for you because I'm Jadeveon Clowney and that's what I do. Well, let's see what Jadeveon Clowney can do for a football team. Let's see what this guy's asking for. So let's talk about last year's Seattle defense and how good they were or were not. I think it would go without saying that if you just look at these numbers right here, the defense for the Seattle Seahawks was the Achilles heel for that team last year. A very talented team with a very talented quarterback that couldn't stop anybody. With Jadeveon Clowney on the team, they were 27th against the pass. That's 27th. They were 22nd against the run. They were 26th in total yards. Only 6 teams gave up more yards than they did. But, obviously he's a sack guy, so I'm sure he had to, even though he only got 3 sacks all year long, he probably, his constant double teams is what I've been reading about. His constant double teams had to free up other guys to be able to make plays and make sacks, right? Well, they were not in the top 50% in hurries. They were 16th overall. So I guess they were, exactly 15% in hurry percentage. That's actually hurrying the quarterback to move the ball along. They were 23rd in actually hitting the quarterback. And this one's my favorite. They were 30th in sacks. There were only 2 teams that got less sacks last year than the Seattle Seahawks. And Jadeveon Clowney is asking for $17 million because that guy looks good in a T-shirt. I mean, this is where we're at right now. Now we'll go back and we'll look at it again. Jadeveon Clowney is saying to him, hey, I'm open. I'm ready to come back and play. And Jadeveon Clowney's made a few like interviews, said a few things saying, you know what, I'm in no rush to sign. That's what it is. It's not the fact that you haven't signed me. It's the fact that I haven't decided on going to you yet. Now, Seattle's told him, look, we made you an offer, and if you want to come back, that offer is available to you. That offer's there. It's going to be available to you. I don't know what that offer was. If I had to guess, I'd say that offer somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 to $12 million a year. That's the money. Maybe at the high end, it's $14 million. He would get Bud Dupree money for getting Bud Dupree got franchised this year at $14.5 million. So maybe he's at Bud Dupree money. And I've watched Seattle games. I've watched more Pittsburgh games. I'm a Pittsburgh fan, but I've watched Seattle games and I've watched Pittsburgh games, and I will tell you that Bud Dupree is everything, or at least last year was everything that Jadeveon Clowney is supposed to be. So if that kid's getting $14.5 million this year, Jadeveon Clowney asking for $21 million, even $17 million, he's off his freaking rocker. He's out of his mind. He's out of his gourd. Now, there's a couple things not going in Clowney's favor. Obviously, the fact that he's not as talented as he thinks he is probably number one. But number two is going to be the salary cap will be adjusted according to the salary cap is always adjusted. Let me rephrase that. The salary cap is always adjusted according to last year's revenues. So this year's salary cap is based off of last year's revenues. So if you can't figure out where I'm going yet, we are dealing with this coronavirus that will affect the attendance, probably, most likely, will affect attendance in at least some stadiums. So I can only guess that revenues will be down. 29% of the country doesn't have a job right now. I don't think season tickets is first on people's lists. I don't see a lot of people running out and buying that Russell Wilson jersey or that Ben Roethlisberger jersey, you know. So the revenue is going to be down this year, and that is going to reflect next year's salary cap. Now follow along with what I'm saying here, because let's just say that they're talking about this. This year's salary cap is $147 million. Next year's salary cap could be $120 million. Or 110. Now, there are teams like the Seahawks who have excess salary cap. The Seahawks, I think, have $26 million in cap change. I have to look that up, actually. That could be wrong, but they're in the $20 million range, the mid-$20 million range. If they were to not spend any more of that money, not another dollar of that money would roll over till next year. So next year, when they're going to need the cap money to be able to keep people employed and sign new players, then they're going to need that money. So these free agents like Jadeveon Clowney, like a Cam Newton, who think that there's going to be money there and people are going to sign them, are going to hit a rude awakening, which is called finances, which is called real people finances. And what is your value besides your name against your actual cap dollar count? So are you worth 21, 17, 14, $10 million this year and beyond, knowing that you only gave me 3 sacks last year? So I don't know. If you're asking me, I would say that if I'm the Seattle Seahawks, there's no way I sign this kid. And if I do, I'm going to offer him $7 million a year. Or maybe he wants to take a chance and say, I'll do a prove-it deal. I'll sign for a year. Okay, sign for a year. $6 million, $7 million. That's what you get. Sorry, you asked not to be franchised. Franchised for you in a second-year franchise deal would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of $17 million. You asked to not have that money. That was your choice. So you made your own deal. So we can't be asked to pay for your deal. My name is John Tedora. They call me the sports trader. A few years ago, I sold my business and I took on an adventure. I embarked upon an adventure that's taken me all across the world and has allowed me to have a life that is absolutely positively everything I dreamed of at my age. I trade sports the same way some people trade stocks. If you'd like to learn more about what I do, I invite you to go to my website, which is called sportstradingsystems.com. There is a ton of absolutely positively free information on there that will teach you about the things that I do, teach you about trends in today's sports world. It'll teach you about how to make money, what sports investing actually is, and it'll also probably entertain you a little bit too if you like sports, if you like data and things like that, the analytics of sports. Also, if you'd like to really learn about what it is I do, I've written a book. That's right. A guy like me wrote a book. I wrote a book. It's called Zero Correlation Investing, The Score Metrics Secret. It is all about how the markets that I found, which are sports, are not connected to any of the traditional markets. So what we're having going on right now with the coronavirus and the obvious financial crash that is imminent will not affect my markets. Now, my markets are closed right now, but they will be open again shortly. And throughout the course of all of this, I lost absolutely no money. I did lose opportunity. That is really what I lost. But at no time did my money go up or go down. I ended the NBA season, well, so far, I'm 178% for the year on the NBA season. That's 178% ROI. And I'm happy with what I'm doing. And I would be happy to teach some of you how to do what it is I do. Anyway, go check out my website. Keep checking out these videos here. By the way, we're new to YouTube. I've been doing the podcast for a while now, but we're new to YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, do me a favor, reach down, smash that like button. I guess that's what the kids are saying now. Smash that like button. Just go clack like that. Smash the like button. Let people know you like us, and share the video, and I'll see you on the next one.